Welcome back to The Rock. Just a week ago, the Tuesday night Integrity Octane Series went to Rockingham County, and so quickly we have returned to this iconic venue. We're just weeks away from the real NASCAR Xfinity Series heading back to this circuit for the first time in 21 years. Why not kick off the festivities on our own terms? Welcome back to the Rockingham Speedway, live on FTN Broadcasting. You're watching coverage of the Integrity Ignite Series and our 8th race of the 2025 season. Qualifying is currently on the way for a field of some 48 drivers. Looking to see whether or not all of them compete tonight at this 1 mile venue. We have just about packed the house for tonight's race. I'll be your host for tonight's coverage. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we're heading into an exciting night and an exciting week for the Integrity Racing League. Tomorrow night will be a half-length Southern 250. That's going to be an exciting one for the Integrity Octane Series. But tonight, of course, it's the Rockingham Speedway that plays host. We've been to this track before multiple times for the Octane Series, but it's great to finally have a chance on Monday nights. It's now going to be Braxton DeWeese up to the top of the board in the Adrenaline number 1. Braxton takes the pole position with a 23.9 on the dot. Your defending champion still looking for his first win this year. Still on the circuit, Tyler Hensley, 21st now as he goes for his second of 2 laps. It looks like so far 39 drivers have taken a time. Ethan Lane is the last of which, and he'll be starting outside of the top 35 today. Hensley across the stripe. From 22nd place, he will improve only slightly further, getting himself up into 12th. You'll have Brandon Bernhardt now on the way. Bernhardt for his second and final lap goes a little bit quicker than his first. Good for 18th place now for the number 81. Then you'll have Josh Gallagher in 36th. Elliott Henderson with contact goes up the track, and he'll find himself now 38th. Tom Wetmore's 42nd place, and not at all a strong showing for one of our faster drivers. Wetmore tonight looking to follow up with Blake Cannon, of course, team leader in the points in the number 27. Cannon will qualify 1 spot ahead of his championship rival in Thomas Bresci, unless someone else can break through in the middle, and it looks like so far nobody can, because every driver has taken a qualifying time. Wetmore being the last of which, and he finds himself all the way down to the bottom of the pylon. He's going to be there outside of the top 40. Nicholas Ward and Ryan Potter are now on the circuit. They're finishing up their qualifying runs. Ward is on the way. This is his first lap. And Nicholas winning last week in Rockingham by virtue of the strategy falling right in his hands. He led the final 20 laps of the day, and those are all the laps he needed to come away with an incredible victory. Ward, 37th on the first lap. Nicholas right now with time to spare. He'll have another lap and he'll have a chance to complete it. Ryan Potter's gotten off the circuit, wasn't able to put a validated time down. Ward will put down the final lap of the session as the 97 comes across the line significantly quicker than before. That's a 24.124 for Nicholas Ward. He'll jump up to 17th. Better, but not enough to make it up to the top of the board, and he's been running strong as of late, but it looks like the qualifying momentum just isn't there today. Ward qualifies P17 overall. Although Tom Wetmore still takes additional laps, it appears that qualifying has officially concluded. All drivers but one took a time on the circuit, and with the 48 car field ready to come to the green flag, it'll be Braxton DeWeese, the number 1 with the pole position. Your defending champion is at the top of the board for the first time this season, getting it started on the inside of the front row. DeWeese is looking still for his first win of 2025, and why not get it done tonight as we get closer and closer to our 1/3 marker on the year. Qualifying has concluded. Race time is just about 5 minutes away. Drivers getting their last moments of practice before we go green. And with that said, it's another big field and one of our biggest for a very small track. More than 43 drivers have taken to the circuit today, with 48 exactly registering. Let's get to know them from start to finish. Inside of row number 1 is going to be the man on the pole position, and who else tonight but of course Braxton Deweese. Pole sitter and defending champion. Braxton's at the top of the board to start. Blake Cannon is going to find himself second place on the lineup, the outside pole position, while Blake Cannon takes third for the Roadhouse Racing guys. JTM Motorsports sees their championship leading man, Thomas Bressi, qualify in fourth. Hunter Madalenas coming on so strong as of late and looking for another victory. The 07 qualifies in fifth. Michael Stroll, sixth place on the lineup. You'll have seventh spot immediately after in Michael Araya. Matthew Thunor stand in eighth. Jacob Fife in the ninth place, and Daniel Foss rounding out the top 10. Jake Miller and Tyler Hensley are the final drivers in the top dozen, and 13th place goes Ronnie Osmer with Jared Davis, the 19, just beside him, P14. To conclude the top 15, it'll be Rob Ackley, Sam Nieto in 16th, Nicholas Ward 17th, Chad Mikas 18th place. And to round out the top 20, Matt Press and Brendan Bernhardt. 21st place is Brent McClendon with Joe Dinsmore, then 22nd. 23rd goes Paul Mikolajczyk, and you'll have 24th place in Vinny Tigner. Concluding the top 25 will then be Brian McFerrin with your top 30, Gavin Fitzgerald, DJ Stagner, Jack Drucker, Josh Christman, and Will Reichard. 31st place immediately after Reichard, that will be Don Stevenson with Daco Parka, Boomer Logan, Gael Brooks, and Ryan Vaughn making up the rest of the top 35. 36 places then Kyle Cooper with 47, Seb Miller, 48th Cole Freilich, 49th Josh Gallagher, and 50th Andrew Hamilton. And rather, that's all the way down at the order's tail end. And these drivers are just before the 50th place. Your final drivers overall in the 48 car lineup. Just to confirm, it'll be Elliot Henderson, Cal Filarski, and your tail end of the field tonight, it'll be Justin Morton, Wetmore, Andrew Schaub, Casey Shue, Ethan Lane, Ryan Potter. Potter not taking a time. He'll find himself all the way at the back of the grid. So this is your 43rd to 48th spot docket. Your previous drivers are the final drivers in the top 40. Just to confirm, 48 drivers, Ryan Potter at the tail end of qualifying, but it'll be Braxton Deweese with the pole position here in the Rock. 1 mile circuit, and we're still seeing 43 plus car fields, an unbelievable feat as we're now nearly a third of the way into the season. And we were thinking we'd start to see a decline after having only 43 drivers last week. It looks like, as it stands, we're not going to see that play out. Ethan Lane giving us the info that drivers will be missing the race today, so that does indicate qualifying guys will have themselves a bit of a cutoff. As a result, I believe we are only going to be seeing ourselves about 43 take it to the field. Andrew Schaub, Ethan Lane disqualified here, and they're making the call as to who exactly will be racing. Ryan Potter also disconnecting. So as such, it appears that tonight we're going to be looking at about 45 drivers taking it to the track, as opposed to your 48 who made it through. Sam Nieto in the number 2 here with just a few moments to spare in practice. It'll be Nieto on the circuit. There's Braxton Deweese. Of course, no concerns tonight about making it in or being eliminated. Braxton in the number 1 has run so strong, of course, as of late, but hasn't gotten himself up to the top 5 or the podium. He's been in the fight for podium finishes beforehand this season. Of course, Auto Club with his teammate Michael Stroll and Michael Araya, but he's been quieter ever since. It was a dominant campaign in last year's running of the Ignite Series. Came down to Thomas Bressi disconnecting with a dozen laps remaining, and so Braxton Deweese became a champion. Now he's looking to defend that run, but at the top of the board tonight for our final warm-up session, it will be Sam Nieto. Sam, he got the pole position, of course, in this final practice session. Top time, a 24.007 for the number 2. Looks for his first Ignite Series win. Smoke billows. Track is empty. And now 175 laps await. Michael Stroll, just outside the top 5. He'll have his teammate, of course, leading the way. And your pole-sitting man, Braxton DeWeese, will join us. Outside is the number 13. Inside is the number 1. DeWeese just below. Let's see what happens tonight, of course, for Braxton. As of late, we've been seeing the long run at Rockingham play in and pay dividends. We saw it last week in the Octane Series, but things got very shaky as our top 2 drivers ended up wrecking each other. That is how Nicholas Ward won, because the 2 drivers who were racing each other on strategy ended up making significant contact. Blake Cannon, I believe one of which in that instant, and it went from a side-by-side race to the lead to a major wreck. Ward was able to defend the rest of the way to get to victory lane. To the inside, Braxton DeWeese. To the outside, Blake Gordon. And now we have ourselves a full field. Looks like we will have ourselves on track tonight, give or take 45 drivers. Looks like Ethan Lane, Ryan Potter, Andrew Schaub not making the show. Looking all the way to the back of the field here, and you will see Casey Shue is our very last driver, the 45th of which down Thunder Alley. So a slightly smaller field. We have 3 drivers going home, shockingly, one of which, of course, being Ethan Lane. But then you have Andrew Schaub just with them, and Ryan Potter, unfortunately, not putting a qualifying time down and effectively eliminating himself by proxy. Coming to 1 to green. Now, we got the offer, of course, for Ethan Lane to come atop to the broadcast booth tonight. We'll get this race going, see how the strategy plays out, and go from there. We might just have some special guests as a result of our qualifying lineup shrinking toward the race day lineup. 3 drivers missing, 45 drivers have made the cut. Now they'll have to race each other for top honors. The Rockingham Speedway is one of the fastest miles across the country. Bristol Motor Speedway has about 15-second laps, and it's half the distance. The Rock benefits strongly from those high bank corners and the curved front straightaway that you see as we make it out of turn 4. It's a rapid circuit, and it keeps every driver on their toes. With the big field tonight and the championship stakes rising, I'm sure we'll feel that same effect once again. Second row is your battle for the championship. Currently, row number 1, driver number 1, he's looking for his first win of the year. That's Braxton DeWeese, and he'll bring the field to green tonight in Rockingham County. Welcome back to the action. DeWeese leads into turns 1 and 2. Leading the way, Braxton DeWeese once again. He's got himself up some car length over Blake Gordon, and Thomas Bressie now going to find himself third place. It's going to be Blake Cannon who drops back a position, and as of late, Cannon cannot catch a break. He's more than 40 points back now on Thomas Bressie for the regular season championship, something that these two were dead even in prior, of course, to the month of April. And even before that point, Blake Cannon had the advantage, and he rattled off 2 consecutive victories. Since that point, he has been ice cold, and not in a good way. Not able to get those good runs in, keep building up good points days. And unfortunately, while it hasn't shot him down the ladder in terms of position, he's really letting Thomas Bressi have good days back-to-back and gain a lot of points to make it from a tied game to a significant lead now for the 24. 4 laps in out of 175. Michael Stroll now 7th, Jacob Fife 8th, Matthew Thunhorst 9th, and Jake Miller rounds out the top 10 as it stands. As we get things going for the opening portion of the day, we'll bring in a guest in the broadcast booth, and I'm sure it's one we're all familiar with. That is Ethan Lane. He didn't get in through qualifying today, so he'll be with us in the broadcast booth, at least for the time being. Let's see what's going on now with Ethan as we're going to bring him in, and he's going to help out with the commentary on the day here from the Rock. He's a driver who's won at this track before, so I figure he'll give us some good expertise from the driver's perspective. Ethan Lane, welcome to the broadcast booth. It's your first time here as a commentator. And Ethan Lane, do we have a copy?
Yeah, David, I don't know if... Yeah, no, it's going to be cool if I can get back into the session, but Rockingham's one of those places where bottom or top will work. It just depends on how you take care of your tires.
And right now, of course, we're talking about tires so early. We gone green flag for these opening 7 laps. It's side by side now for Thomas Bressi and Michael Araya. That's the fight for 3rd. Looks like Blake Gordon getting a jump on your pole sitter in Braxton Deweese and taking an early 2.5 lead. I'll tell you this much. It looks like he's pushing harder than just about anyone else, and maybe he's one of those guys not too worried about that strategy to begin with. And looking to get a copy once again with Ethan Lane, just to confirm he's with us here. Give us just a moment to make sure that's indeed the case. Ethan, we were talking a little bit about how aggressive Blake Gordon is right now. He's gotten himself up to the top of the board, and he's taken a 2-second lead in only 9 laps. And it looks like some continued connection troubles here in the broadcast booth. We'll try once again, but momentarily having some issues as we get to our 10th lap. Take a brief ride on board now with the number 24 of Thomas Bressi as he's fighting to get up to your pole sitter in Deweese. Currently, Thomas Bressi going to find himself 0.4 of a second away from second place, Braxton Deweese. Notice how Blake Gordon, who is your leader right now, he is a blip on the radar as it stands. He's been pushing himself real hard, and since unfortunately it looks like I'm having some connection issues on my side talking to Ethan Lane here, we'll talk about it right now from our perspective in the booth. Gordon is shoving this car to wit's end. He's 3.7 seconds up on the field. First and foremost, he is very confident right now, and that is clear as day. 3.6 seconds up on the ladder right now and gaining. He thinks he's got something in this car that nobody else has. He's working the high side, and he is making moves with it. He's really putting the power down well, but notably, he's also burning up that tire. Last time by, he ran a lap 0.2 of a second quicker than Braxton Deweese, and I don't think that's a real difference in pace. That's a difference in aggression right now. All these guys who are a little bit further back, still in the top 5, yes, they're laying back right now. It's not a matter of whether or not they're going to go at it full aggression. It's more about making it the full end of the stints. Number 3, AC Delco Chevrolet of Michael Stroll, now looking under Michael Araya. These two drivers have been in the fight for a podium before. Same fight as what Braxton DeWeese was in. It was thousandths of a second at Auto Club, and it looks like Stroll is back up front. Good to see Michael, of course, making his way at the front of the field, currently 4th place. Talking about the standings, domination, intimidation racing does need a lift up, generally speaking. While Braxton DeWeese has maintained strength and finds himself slowly but surely getting up there into the fight, it's all about his teammates who are trying to catch up with. Braxton is right now 12th in the championship standings. Michael Stroll is in 13th. And then you look back and you'll see further competitors. Notably, a big decline for that Chad Micas team. Nick Tarbuck tonight, not seeing him at the front of the field, and it looks like the number 4 neglecting to race on the day. As it stands, it looks like he's not going to be with us. Nevertheless, although the number 29 right now is not there, you'll see Chad Micas. Micas right now running in the 16th spot. He needs a big race today. He's up to 46th in the standings. And again, for the opening 25 races of our season, Micas was hardly out of the top 5 in the standings. Now, he hasn't been able to sniff the top 30 in the past 5 weeks. Significant decline for a driver who was undoubtedly the most improved of the 2024 season. And he's someone who has found misfortune each and every race this year. The drop has been progressive in terms of performance, but I don't think that's because of the driver in the 25 becoming any worse. I think it's instead just because of how much more competitive the field has become. Gordon at the line, led by 4.5 seconds, but Braxton DeWeese has clawed back a quarter already, only to lose more down the back straight here. Blake's strategy is very interesting to watch, and I really don't know if it's the winning one. The number 13 Topgolf Chevrolet, you see him right here running so far ahead, but how long can you maintain that pace of being the top driver? Unless he really is hooked up well, and that is possible, he doesn't have the stuff to run away forever. This is not a track where you can really get away with doing that. The heat is going to come back to get you, literally speaking. Let's talk about those track conditions, by the way. Ambient temperature coming in at 72 degrees, but the track temp is where the interesting point is. We're at 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The relative humidity is rather high. We saw a low relative humidity last week in Rockingham when the Octane Series went there, but even then, tires got slick, drivers got loose, trouble ensued. We saw what happened. It could be inevitable tonight if drivers push themselves just a little bit too hard. Unfortunately, Nick Tarbuck and the 29 crew out for illness today. A whole fever in the household, and that's a real shame. Hopefully, you get better, Nick, and we'd love to have you back for next week as soon as possible, of course. Thank you for stopping by as well and cheering some of the teammates on. He's got 2nd and 4th for DIR to watch out for. Braxton up to P2, and Michael Stroll right now in 4th. It looks like right now that's the team to beat, although you'll see multiple drivers for JTM now in the top 10. There is Thomas Bresci in 3rd. Matthew Thunhorst has gotten himself up into 8th now in the number 8. Side by side, that's going to be Blake Cannon and Jake Miller. Miller, overall, has been one of those rookies we haven't spoken all too much of. He's been in a few minor incidents. He's run solidly so far, but it looks like Jake once again trying to show out strong in the number 41 tonight. You'll see that Haas CNC Ford Mustang running now in the 10th position. Miller still right there behind Blake Cannon and keeping him honest. Caution's out first time tonight. Back of the field, looking for trouble, seeing if anyone got through. Ryan Vaughn is making it by. And it looks like he's down on the apron here. No trouble in sight for the number 28. Looking at Daco Parka. 10 gets away clean. Andrew Hamilton is on pit road. We're going to take a look back and see if we can figure out what happened to Hamilton here. Looks like Andrew Hamilton involved in that incident at the time of the yellow flag. And it happened at the tail end of the field. His motor blew and he went down to pit road immediately. Looks like a race ender for the number 16, Andrew Hamilton, already 2 laps down. Currently, as the field comes into pit road, he'll find himself effectively out of today's event. Blake Gordon, race leader, to the inside for our first stops of the day. About 150 laps to go from here, which is our typical length at the Rockingham Speedway. Blake Gordon, Braxton Deweese coming in first and second respectively. The number 1 drops through. Blake Cannon going to be one of the last of which to do so. Now we'll see who makes it out first. Expecting the traditional 4 tires and fuel strategy. Experimental runs might be later in the day, but right now there's really no reason to risk it. At the line, Gordon has the advantage. Off a pit exit, rest of the field comes. You'll have Braxton Deweese following, Thomas Bressi, Michael Araya, Michael Stroll, Hunter Madalenas. Matthew Thunhorse is the final man now in the top 10 because we have ourselves 3 holdouts. Jacob Fife, Jack Drucker, and Tom Wetmore. Wetmore, by virtue, of course, of SuperSpeedway Chaos, got a victory in Daytona in the Octane Series. Jack Drucker got the job done at Daytona in the Ignite Series, and Jacob Fife, perhaps with the most shocking win of the year so far, Atlanta Octane Series. He not only made a 2-tire strategy work for defense, he pushed up to the front of the field and won outright. Gotta say, he's a multi-time winner. We've seen him do it now 5 times over his modern era career, but I think that one was perhaps the most impressive of all the bunch. And he's taken those lessons a few times, and he's shown that he can really push it up to the front of the field on those alternative strategy calls. Not just a fluke for Fife. Fife low, Drucker high. Here we go again as the field says hello to the restart zone in Rockingham. Andrew Hamilton with significant troubles as a result of that incident, 4 laps down. Elliott Henderson more the same after damage repairs. Green flags out, big disconnection on the outside, and it'll be Fife and Wetmore getting away first and second. Watch out now to see whether or not the new tire brigade ends up the winning group. You'll see 3 wide. There's Tom Wetmore with Braxton Deweese. Braxton dives to the inside, keeping it to the low on Wetmore. Hunter Madalenas up top. There's another on new rubber. Michael Araya now making it by Wetmore. Tom is being swept up big. Blake Gordon already to the race lead, and he'll bring to the outside Thomas Bressi as well. Here comes the 24, here comes the number 1, here comes the field, and notably, here come those on new tire. Quickly, we'll see the old holdouts immediately get replaced. Jacob Fife is already finding himself down and down the ladder. Tom Wetmore, forget about it, he's not even inside the top 10 anymore. And it looks like, at least in the short term, this is a significant loss for a guy like Wetmore. Ooh, big drift, big save for Matt Press. Wow! How about that for the number 60 of Press, who had it shaken all the way through 2. He's lucky to get out of that one, that is for certain. Take a look at this with Matt Press. One more time now as he pulled it all the way through. It was 3 wide beforehand, and he was running side by side. They got loose out of 4, but the real kicker was coming out of 2 on the next lap. Press with Mikus, goes up high, tries to squeeze, skates through, saves it, gets the pass on Mikus, stays ahead of Sam Nieto. Talk about defense while drifting. Great job for the number 60 there to hang on, and he is still in the fight. Matt Press perhaps with the move of the day so far, even if it's not for any major positions just yet. Now he'll head to the inside on Jack Drucker. To the point, Braxton Deweese looking to the inside on Hunter Madalenas. Again, this is the battle for second because Blake Gordon has decided to check out. He's a second up. Rest of the field behind him is running toe-to-toe. Very interesting to see right now. These drivers from second on back are not pushing at their fullest extent. The difference in pace is major right now. It looks like Thomas Bressi is tempering the field rather than going out there and fighting to the most aggressive degree. And honestly, this might be the right thing to do. When you think about how we're expecting to see longer green flag runs as the day progresses, you cannot get away with a short stint mentality all day long. You can oftentimes get away with working the long run on the short term, but the short term is not replaceable for a long run strategy. And someone who's running hard is going to burn out his stuff, and it will cost the driver as the night progresses. Cost him so significantly that we might see Bressie getting up there on Gordon rather than vice versa. And while Gordon surged through so far, I'm a little bit skeptical as the caution flies again, second time today. Taking a look at what just happened, Josh Gallagher has a little bit of damage. Take a look back with the number 96 of Gallagher, and we'll figure out why that's the case. Justin Morton was running with his front completely sealed out and open. Yellow flag flies, trying to see when that incident occurred. He's been running with it for quite a while now. Same goes for Josh Gallagher. Pulling it a few seconds back to see what happened here. Daco Parka on pit road, and it looks like the back half of the field having troubles for the second time today. Top 35 guys got away with it, and one more time we're looking all the way back to see who exactly was involved. Seeing the mid-pack come through, there's Brian McFerrin, Josh Christman, and then the yellow flag was called subsequently. You can see Nicholas Ward in the mix and Tom Wetmore going 3 wide, but it looks like these leading guys were able to maintain it well, and then the yellow flag flew. Just a replay across the field, and you'll see when the caution. Oh, it's Matt Press! And Press, from that amazing move just a few laps prior, 0-0 on that one. There he is, Matt Press, the culprit. Watch it back. Contact with Sam Nieto. Both drivers found each other, wrecking down the back. Very unfortunate, the man with such a great save just a few laps ago ends up binned. The caution is out. And big damage as well. Sam Nieto, for the second consecutive race here in Rockingham, is involved in a critical incident in the opening half of the day. Nieto was, of course, involved in the lap 1 incident in the Octane Series from the front row. However, it appears he lasted a few 30 laps longer to get to this point right now. Unfortunate, and very at that. But it looks like now Sam is back on the way. All the while, I think we're going to see a lot more time on pit road for Matt Press. Nieto returns. 1 lap to green. Blake Gordon has control again. We'll see how quickly he checks out now that he has his clean air and a full field ahead of him. Of course, all open. Up next, Gordon versus Bressie. Right off the restart line, guys on fresh rubber, ready to duel once again. You'll have Hunter Madalenas and Blake Cannon right there. Set to get back to work. Up top goes Cannon, but Gordon gets away, and he's making it clear he wants no part in the business behind him. Back on the move for lap number 40. Watch further back. Cole Fralick to the inside, diving low on Jared Davis. To no avail. Up in front, double file again, you'll see Ronnie Osmer, Matthew Thunhorst, and currently it looks like Gordon already pulling a quarter of a second in that opening lap. Dead set on getting away from everyone each and every time. Gordon has looked great today, harkening back to some of his better runs at the previous short circuits. He proved to be quite an ace at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in 2023. Almost got the job done in a great run, which was the All-Star race. Eventually, Seth Noel got away and ended up beating him outright. It was a very impressive run for the driver of the number 9, but overall, undeniably, Blake Gordon dominated that race. He led some 80% of it. And eventually, it was still all for Seth at the very end. But tonight it looks like Gordon doesn't have to deal with that number 9, and instead he's got himself out in front once more. More than 4.5 tenths up as Hunter Madalenas looks to find victory lane once again. Hunter has been on a very strong start to his season and has slowly but surely climbed the ranks as a championship contender. Right now, Hunter, finding himself closer and closer to the top 10 in points, has only been gaining. Right now, Madalenas is getting right up into the mix. Let's talk about the championship standings as he continues to make those gains. Hunter right now, while not in the top 5, he's got victories, and that's what currently matters. Taking a look at wins, Hunter's now 7th up in the championship after his 2nd win of the season, and being in the top 10 so early, even though he missed multiple races, is a major positive. He can only keep working to make up that differential as the season progresses, and so far he's made up quite a bit of it. From the tail end on up, Madalenas is looking to prove he's got it. Shell 07, 0.6 of a second out is Blake Gordon. It looks like this time by, Gordon hasn't quite gotten far away, and this time around he's got another Blake chasing him. Here comes Blake Cannon. Blake on Blake for the race lead would be rather interesting. They battled many a time for top 10, top 15 placements, but it looks like tonight Gordon's got the upper hand, and Cannon, the 2-time winner this year, in the Night Series anyway, maybe he's got himself the back foot. We'll see what that number 27 can do, but right now it looks like he's going to have to work his way up rather than descending to the likes of the 13. Gordon's really putting them all on notice in the opening part of this race. 45 laps through, he's led the majority of which, and there seems to be no stopping him on these short runs, and he's gotten exactly what he'd want in terms of multiple brief stints to keep him up and ahead. Further back, Cole Fralick side by side with Tyler Hensley. Hensley's having a great return to the Integrity Ignite series, and it's something we've talked about before. I think it's still worth talking about once again. Missing 2024 entirely. He was a part-time driver in 23, and it looks like he's finally getting a chance to go all out and make his way through. He's 31st right now in the championship standings, which might not be the most impressive statistic, but for a driver who missed the entirety of last year, he's had some solid runs so far, and he's keeping himself more or less in the upper half of the pack every time he goes at it. Involved in a few incidents, yes, but Hensley's got the potential to be a top 25, top 20 guy consistently and cumulatively by the end of the year. And with the level of competition we are seeing, that is quite the achievement. Some great drivers right now are outside the top 30 in points. Hensley finds himself knocking on that door in only his 8th return race. And for a driver who missed 30 consecutive, you got to think about it in that perspective. Paul Mikolajczyk now going to the inside as Rob Ackley. They're going to be battling each other for what appears to be the 11th position. Jake Miller holds on to 10th. Blake Gordon is now going to be 1.5 seconds up on the rest of the field. Cannon is in 2nd. Madalenas is in 3rd. You'll take a look at Hunter in the 07 here, and that Ford Mustang is flying up to the 27 Toyota Supra. Hunter's getting there, but Blake Cannon has gotten 2nd, and so it's Blake and Blake at the front of the field after your opening 50 laps. To the stripe. Gordon still has the advantage. Number 37 of Elliott Henderson will prove a lapper and should be a quick pass now as the 13 heads to the inside line. A swift pass, and it was one made quickly because it looks like that number 37 did not move out of the way. Blake Cannon is up next, and let's see how quickly he makes it through the lappers, as now we're starting to deal with the guys who are off the lead lap under green. The first time we're doing so today. Exciting to see the slow but sure differences in how exactly these drivers deal with lap machines. Elliott Henderson is keeping it up high, and he's been consistent with that time and again. The battle for 3rd will not benefit from that, though. The only driver who might have was Madalenas, but Thomas Bressi surges high and gets the advantage again. Tell you this much, Braxton DeWeese, he is staying right on it. Still no dice, though, for that number 1. See here, Thomas Bressi taking the back straightaway down Thunder Alley. Hunter Madalenas low, Michael Araya up top. Michael now has got himself doing what Thomas Bressi's doing, taking it high and making moves. Nice to see for that number 44. It looks like Michael Araya all of a sudden has himself in good standing. The defending Octane Series champion. He's taken on a new challenge, and so far he's done a pretty good job with it. He leads the way, of course, in terms of drivers now who are surging their way up. Talking about the top 10, let's talk about those biggest movers within it. 7th up to 5th. Of all the drivers in the top 5, he's the only one of which who did not start there. But your biggest mover in the top 10 overall is a man who really needs it. That's Chad Mikas, 18th up to 8th. And the DIR number 25, watching as his teammate has success ahead of him in Braxton Deweese. He needs this race more than anything else. Hunter right now finds himself 6th. Osmer in 7th. Chad Mikas chasing after the both of which right now. And what it would be for Chad Mikas to get a top 10, it would be absolutely massive. Outside of the top 35, outside of the top 40, he is 46th in points right now. Again, by this point in the season last year, he had multiple top 5s. And a podium at that. This hasn't been his season so far, but Mike is picking him off one at a time, and he just goes by the lapper quick of Matt Press. Calm and consistent, that's what's going to get these drivers all the way home. Braxton Deweese coming up again on Thomas Bressi here. Let's see exactly what he can do. Bressi firmly outpaced so far in this opening section by Blake Cannon up in front. 57 laps in out of 175, which gives us some 30 laps until we hit halfway. Caution's out again. Looks like Tom Wetmore's got damage. And the caution is out. Taking a look to see what exactly happened now to the 69 of Wetmore and see whether or not he was involved in the mix. It looks like Gavin Fitzgerald, contact, drifting down the track, and Wetmore locks it up. Outside wall, yellow flag is out. Most of the field got away, but unfortunately for Tom Wetmore, he ends up with some contact and damage up on the right front. That's the number 69 for your third caution of the day, currently running 36th. Tom Wetmore, who qualified strong, unfortunately not racing up to it so far. While his teammate contends at the top of the board, things change on back, and the yellow flag is called as the field comes in again to pit road for their second cycle of the day. Led by the 13 of Blake Gordon, the field is ready for another pit stop cycle. Gordon slightly nudging his way into his pit stall all too much. That's going to cost him the race lead, put him back in second, and while it's Wetmore who wrecks, Blake takes the lead from Blake. That's going to be Cannon getting up to the front of the field, Gordon dropping to second, Thomas Bressi remaining third. If we were only looking at those front names, the top 3 would be identical, but it looks like that's not the case. Cannon over Gordon. 27 of Cannon has himself up in front. Of all those on new tire anyway. Here's another interesting twist. We got quite a few holdouts again, and look who's the leader of the holdouts. That is Jacob Fife on a 22-lap-old run now. And last week's winner in the Octane Series, Nicholas Ward, who got it done at this very track. He's going to decide to go for a little bit more and try to stretch it further. Restarting at lap number 61 for your third of the day. Fife on the bottom and Nicholas Ward getting the jump off top. Both drivers have older tire, and this is really where it becomes quite a surprise as to what we're going to get. Hopefully, Nothing problematic, but we're going to let the field go at it and see what happens from there. Green flag, ready to wave once again. It'll be Jacob Fife in the number 31 taking the race lead, and he's got a full car length and then some. Ward is going to struggle. 1, 2, 3 on the inside, past Ward as the outside gets bottlenecked big. Cannon surges high, contact, Ward once, twice in the wall. Caution is out. Bearing the brunt of the load, Nicholas Ward and Gavin Fitzgerald. Watch this again. While it really does compromise Gavin Fitzgerald's race, Ward made the brighter of the decisions while spinning to stay up in the wall. Watch what happens here. Ward coming out of the corner. Contact from Blake Gordon, hitting DeBressy, hits Gordon again, and he doesn't end up tailing out as he stays right there with Gavin Fitzgerald, and everyone else gets away as a result. Lariah close to a hit, but Ward gets down to the bottom, and although it looks like a lot more trouble than last week for Ward, that could have been significantly worse and could have been a field ender. Ward and Fitzgerald, big contact. Blake Gordon and Thomas Bressy getting some collateral, but overall, it appears that both of them will get away as the caution flag is out. For the fourth time tonight. Jacob Fife leads. Jack Drucker second. Blake Cannon able to get up into third as Gordon takes a small hit. He falls back to P6 as he tried to recover before the yellow flag flew, and that's going to send he and Bressy 5th and 6th places respectively. Pit stop cycle, majority of the field went in that time by, but we got those 3 holdouts up and ahead. Nicholas Ward is going to find himself further on back, but you got Jacob Fife, Jack Drucker, and Tom Wetmore. Wetmore recovering, of course, from being involved in the previous caution, and now he's going to find himself up to 4th on a 26-lap old stint. So he gets himself the track position he needs, but Blake Cannon is already infiltrated, and he's broken through to the podium on new rubber. I would be very surprised to see Fife and Drucker hang on to the spots they've got, considering the fact that Cannon's already right behind him, and he can make it through really quickly. The field will go green for lap number 65 this time by. Bottom is Fife, top is Drucker. You'll have Wetmore and Cannon alongside each other as well. Hoping now that cautions do not breed cautions as we look forward to getting the green flag racing back on the way. Jacob Fife is going to work it low as Jack Drucker gets back to business. iRacing official pace car will duck down to the bottom, and here we go again. Green flag's out. Fife gets a move on. Already, Blake Cannon gets himself out and in front. He's got a car length. Then you got Fife, Bressy, Drucker all running in succession. Podium and top 5. Braxton Deweese is going to get himself up now into the 5th position again. And this is when those new tires begin to surge. The 36 and the 56. Those two drivers are undeniably now at the biggest disadvantage of all. Tom Wetmore is also getting mired back quickly. And this is a very risky position for every driver, not just Wetmore. These drivers on old tire are significantly slower, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it right now. As a result, they're acting perhaps as roadblocks on the circuit more than anything else. You got to get out of their way, and they have to get out of yours, but it's hard to time it compared to everyone else who's trying to make that move up in front. Bressy for second. Cannon now for the race lead. It'll be the number 27 of Blake Cannon to the point. Blake Gordon to the inside now, trying to make a pass on Jacob Fife. This would be for 4th place, and he already makes it, coming through 3 and 4. Watch out now for Braxton Deweese getting up to Thomas Bressie. Looks like the defending champ and pole sitter's finally getting his due up in front. Bressie made a little bit of contact in that last incident, but it looks like whatever it was, it surely didn't stop him, because now Thomas heads to the inside for the overall race lead, and he will not be denied. Cannon up top, of course, trying to keep him honest here, but it looks like there still is no stopping this number 24. He'll look up top, still hasn't quite found it, and that's going to give Braxton Deweese the perfect opportunity to slide down low and get it up in front. Here comes Deweese, working down low, just slightly quicker as he comes across the stripe. It'll be Bressie for second at lap number 70. Blake Cannon continues to watch just behind him. The gap between these two drivers for second is in the thousandths of a second range, and that's giving another Blake a shot to get closer. Blake on Blake, it could be again. 1st and 4th right now. Cannon is leading. 4th is Gordon, and if he can get ahead of these 24 and number 1 drivers fighting each other, we could see the battle of the first name go at it again. Right now, though, round 2 will have to wait. And Thomas Bressie in the number 24, he'll have to make his move next. Bressie walking down the back straightaway with Blake Cannon here and still waiting for the right top. He'll pass by Matt Press once more. Thomas Bressie is keeping himself just in the back end of this leading battle. Braxton Deweese fades back a little further. Hunter Madalenas now coming up on Blake Gordon. That will move Hunter up into 4th place while your top 2 continue to break through. Michael Araya is going to find himself 5th. Jake Miller in 6th. Blake Gordon drops back to 7th here, and all of a sudden it looks like he's found his kryptonite in that number 13. Driving so strong and with the most aggression of all day long, it looks like something has slipped now in this number 13 to the point he fell behind the lapper in Matt Press. Bad news, and it looks like he's trying to figure himself out again. Gordon down to 9th. Cole Freilich, rookie, getting himself up to 8th place. This is the highest spot he's running all night long, looking for his best finish of the year. Blake Cannon, of course, up and in front. Cole Freilich trying to ride that wave and keep up with the leading draft here. Freilich, let's talk about his day right now as he continues his upward ascent. So far, Cole, of course, has been making big moves. He started 38th on the day. He is up to the 8th place. So yes, that is a gain of a total of 30 places from where he began to where he is now. Undeniably, that's a lot of positions, but more than that, he's done quite a lot of it under green. And now Cole finds himself again running just behind Ronnie Osmer, looking for the 7th place, and to keep the good times rolling, he could get up there to Jake Miller for good measure. Michael Araya, single file now with Hunter Madalenas. Braxton Deweese is running in 3rd. Thomas Bressie, he's in 2nd here, and you'll have Blake Cannon still leading, but it looks like the lead is dissipating with more drivers tightening up to him. Although it looks like Blake Gordon might not have the shot to get there, it'll be instead Braxton making his way. Watch now as the number 27 works down Thunder Alley, and he'll have to work directly at that defense. Thomas Bressie goes high, and I think within the next 2 or 3 laps, he will be right within striking distance, and it might be less time than that because Thomas is quick. Coming across the line, inside for the 24. That time by, he was quicker by 21 thousandths of a second, just enough to show a difference. And that's going to keep Blake Cannon on his toes here as the number 27 goes high, gets the surge of momentum. That keeps him up and ahead again. Thomas Bressie's going to go for the switchback. He goes bottom of 1 and 2, top of 3 and 4, can't get there. Once again, it's a stalemate. But slowly but surely, that big move will be made. I think we're looking at the inevitable here as we come up on halfway in today's race. Today's pit strategy comes down to one thing: green flag versus yellow flag. Whether or not we get those laps in under racing periods, or of course if we see pacing as the big trend of the day. Right now we are on a 20 coming to lap 21 stint, and we have ourselves some 80 plus laps to go. As a result, we are still expecting one more pit stop to be absolutely mandatory for the field to make it around. Thomas Bressi stays on the backside here. Michael Araya is coming up closely to Hunter Madalenas, but the top 10 has sorted out for the time being. There's Laraya. He's gotten by Jake Miller. Miller falls out of the top 5 placements. There's the 41. And Cole Freilich is now 7th place past Ronnie Osmer. Said previously, we think that Cole has the stuff to go for the top 5. Let's see what happens now for that 41. Blake Cannon in the number 27. 2/10 back is still Thomas Bressi. Lapper, Josh Gallagher, and it looks like Bressi gets in the wall briefly. 96 stays high. Almost contact there with Gallagher. And I don't know if it felt close for either driver, but that could have been a game over moment for the Blake Cannon number 27. Luckily, Gallagher stays high. Lapper should be able to move out of the way. Braylick coming up on Gallagher, and quick here. It's a narrow circuit and a fast one at that. That makes lap drivers a little bit more dangerous than usual. Like to say hello to our chat room tonight, of course. Nick Tarbuck, Ethan Lane, Mark Heil, and Chris DeWeese coming through. All different fan clubs, of course. You got Domination Intimidation Racing. Today they're led by Braxton DeWeese. Hunter Madalenas, he's growing a lot of support on the channel, and it's great to see some of the fans for some of our up-and-coming guys. Hunter, one of those you got to watch out for. A lot of hype, and I think that hype is very real. He's right now there in 4th. If you got a favorite driver you'd like to shout out, make sure to let us know. The FTN chat room is free to use for all of our viewers. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel. And when you do, you can chat with us all night long here at FTN. We love hearing what you have to say and bringing it to the broadcast conversation. It's always better to know what the fans are feeling with sim racing action. 85 laps in out of 175. We are due to cross the halfway point very soon. And by very soon, I think it's less than a minute here. Blake Cannon, less Thomas Bressi, really picks up the pace, will be the man with the honors. Matthew Thunhorst watching as Michael Stroll goes to the inside. Michael took a brief hiatus from the top 10. We saw him down as low as about 28th. And he's made his way back up into the top 10 once again. He's going to join his teammate in Braxton Deweese further up front. It looks like he's sort of swapped places with Chad Mikus. Mikus isn't all too far back. He and teammate Rob Ackley are now racing each other for the 13th position. 13th is now Mikus. 14th is Ackley, and all of a sudden it appears that DIR is slowly but surely approaching the top 10. But they're only approaching. It doesn't look like so far they're making their way in there, only that they're getting close. 87 laps in out of 175. Now, as we cross the start-finish line, it's official. We're on to our second half for lap number 88. First half so far has seen nothing but dominance from your leading men, particularly the Blakes. Earlier on, it was Cannon, of course, falling back to Blake Gordon, but it's instead now the 27 who takes the race lead. We've only got ourselves 88 to go from here, so let's watch what happens as we still expect for one more mandatory pit stop and a cycle that could come either under green or under yellow. Tyler Hensley, 9th place right now. Talk about Hensley's resurgence. He still isn't up there in the top 30 in points, but what we've seen of him so far has been impressive. And tonight, it looks like that pace again is not an exception from his previous strong races. Hensley's been in the single digits for the majority of this opening half, and it looks like right now, as long as he fends off Cole Freilich and Michael Stroll, or even one or the other really, he should be able to stay in the top 10 comfortably. Right behind is going to be Matthew Thunhorst. Thunhorst right now, he runs in 11th, and it looks like he's a little bit too far back to make a gain and make a move on the guys ahead of him. So that's going to leave Dunhorst exactly where he is right now. Doesn't look like any significant difference in that respect. Paul Mikolajczyk to the inside briefly, but it's not going to be for a pass. Watch what happens next, of course. Mikolajczyk dropping to the bottom. And Paul goes toe-to-toe now in his Toyota Supra. Side by side, it looks like damage on the right side for the number 8 might be one of those problems. Notable, but we'll keep an eye on if it makes any difference in regards to pace. Take a look up in front again and you'll have the number 1. That is Braxton Deweese, third place right now, catching up again to the number 24 of Thomas Bresci. As of recent, it looks like very little has come to pass for that number 24. Still going to be Thomas Bresci in second. Third place is going to remain, of course, right there, Braxton Deweese. Exciting to see that slow but sure progression for Deweese, but it looks like right now the defense for Bresci has been locked down with 83 laps to go. And Blake Cannon, of course, forget about it. He's been leading by more than a second, in fact, for the past some 25 laps. This stint has been very comfortable so far for Cannon, and he would like to keep it that way as he's now coming up to his 35th lap on this set of rubber. Mathematically speaking, we were expecting drivers to split this stint and come down to pit road in some 30 laps, give or take. If they want to go over the exact midpoint from here to the end, that would be the way to go. Blake Cannon right now, 82 laps remaining, finds himself in a position where he can dictate strategy if we remained under green. But the undercut and overcut, well, we've seen it before and we should be no stranger to it. There's DJ Stagner. Stagner's led an insignificant race so far. Insignificant, shall we say, but you never can doubt this number 64. He comes out of nowhere sometimes and he makes you think that you're a fool for not picking him up at the front of the field to begin with. He's in 15th right now. Running modestly, not to say it's anything fantastic, but he's played strategy well before. I wouldn't be surprised if he took a page out of perhaps the Jacob Fife playbook, making his way in for a 2-tire stop, or if he decided to do something a little bit different and try to stretch it further on the overcut strategy to run with younger tire to the very end. There's a lot of options right now for Stagner and those in the middle of the field. I think for the time being, if you're DJ, there's still a lot of positive room to keep growing and, of course, progress up toward the front of the field. DJ has been moderately successful today, shall we say. He's up inside the top 15, of course, and he qualified in 27th, so he's made a total of 13 spots up. Not at all bad gains for any driver, but I'm sure that all things considered, that number 64 of Stagner would love to make it up even more than what we've seen so far. 78 laps to go. Blake Cannon leads by now more than a second and a half. Thomas Bresci coming across the back straightaway, still firmly in second place. Looks like the top 10, except for 10th place, is all settled in. But Cole Freilich now falls out of that top 10, and it looks like that's going to give Tyler Hensley a shot at Hunter Madalenas. Lapper, Elliot Henderson down to the inside. It looks like right now it's going to be a move, shot in the arm for the 5, and that's going to bring him right up the circuit into, well, same spot, 9th place, but a little bit more room now to chase after Hunter. Take a back-end shot from the 07 as Freilich and Hensley catch up. This could be for position very soon, so watch out. Tyler Hensley is there, and not, of course, by himself. He's got himself multiple drivers, and it's a train. You'll look at Mikolajczyk, you'll look at Cole Freilich, you're looking at Chad Mikas. Oh, there's a lapper. That's Gavin Fitzgerald. And it looked like a shock for everyone involved there, even if we're looking off the backside. We're coming to lap 100 this time by, and it looks like the home stretch is here. Take a look at Mikas. Looking to the inside again on Cole Freilich. Braylick scrapes the wall gently. Nothing all too serious. Tyler Hensley, 10th place. Paul Mikolajczyk in 9th. Hunter Madalenas, 8th place on the board here. Ronnie Osmer's gotten himself up to 7th again. He's a very impressive rookie, all things considered. Ronnie right now in the 55 is still fighting hard to stay top 10 in points. He burst onto the scene strong, and again, he's a driver with that real-world experience, and oftentimes that plays very well into a driver's sim racing career. Ronnie right now is 9th in the championship standings, and a night like this is a can't-lose performance. For a brand new driver, he's done a great job, and again, we say that a lot about many of our rookies, and that has been the trend. We've got a lot of first-time guys who are very much impressing us, and they've kept the veterans on their toes all season long. Just because right now we think those veterans haven't made because they've got the seasons of expertise doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. And guys like Osmer, Miller, of course, Michael Araya is an Ignite Series rookie as well, and Hunter Madalenas, they've really kept these drivers antsy because there's no guarantee they'll finish well when the competition is that good. "71 laps to go." Watching now, Blake Cannon, he is up and ahead by 2.5 seconds. Take a ride on board now with your race leader. "70 laps remaining. Blake Cannon is closer now to the lappers than he is his competitors further behind. You got Bresci, of course, some 3 seconds back. You got Braxton Deweese, who's a further half second back. And it's once again exactly like Blake Gordon, but it hasn't been that quick of a charge to get up in front to this point. It's been the better part of 50 laps to make such a gain. I think that's where it becomes a more reliable advantage than what Gordon had previously. Speaking of that number 13, since we've been talking about him all night long, taking a look back down to check on Blake Gordon. Gordon, as it stands, of course, you don't see him up there in the top 10. He finds himself fighting much further back. Gordon is going to be in the mid-20s, 28th as it stands, as a matter of fact. Here's a look now at that number 13, and it looks like on a strategic sense, he has been taken out of line at the front of the field. Blake right now is running in the mid-pack, and something clicked with this car early. Something has not been clicking ever since. Could be slight weather changes. Again, track temperature, it's the same. The ambient temp is at 74 Fahrenheit here, but conditions-wise, we've seen slight changes in regards to the wind, which is now pushing at more than 15 miles an hour. Nevertheless, whatever's happened to Blake Gordon, it has really affected him, and he's taken himself further back from the lead all the way down to the mid-20s. He's going to need a big recovery if he wants to make something work for a victory. That looks like a slim chance to none, as he's closer to getting put one down than he is to taking the race lead. That's Blake Cannon, and he's getting closer and closer to that other Blake, who now, of course, finds himself relegated to secondary status. Thomas Bresci still leads the fight for second. Deweese has been there. He closed in, but ever since then, it looks like he has been relaxed, running just behind. We're coming up close to that mathematical split of our final stint based on our current data. It would be in only about 5 to 6 laps time. Differences are becoming smaller and smaller currently for guys like Deweese and Bresci, of course, until they make it into pit road. Very likely the bundle you're looking at here is going to come into pit road as one, even lapper Josh Gallagher. Cannon, however, that's the one disadvantage of being the clear race leader. Finds himself up and in front, and he finds himself alone from all his competitors. As such, it doesn't mean he has no understanding of when they'll go in, but he doesn't know exactly when to prepare for it. Say, for instance, they don't call in over the text chat, and they go in significantly earlier for an undercut, or they go in much later for an overcut. He wouldn't have much knowledge of it unless he saw it. Josh Gallagher still chasing. Closest battle right now in the top 10. You'll see Hunter Madalenas, Paul Mikolajczyk, and Tyler Hensley. Hensley is still the final man in the top 10. Got to give him what of course, is deserved credit here for hanging on. Cole Fralick has fallen back to 11th again. Chad Mikus is on the up and up for 12th, and he's bringing DJ Stagner with. But right now, it's very clear that slowly but surely, no way to make it through and get up to the top 10 fight. Hensley and Mikolajczyk have it made, and they've got a physical advantage on track. Cole Fralick is trying to sever himself from the battle behind, but it's not going to be easy with 62 laps remaining and time slowly but surely running out. Mikus side by side with Stagner. This time DJ's got the edge up top, and as he surges up high, it'll now be the number 64 getting himself the position. That's DJ Stagner for 12th place, the highest spot he's running all night long. DJ's getting himself up to the top dozen. All his competitors further on back, while they remain close, haven't quite made the cut. Braxton Weiss right now is 3rd place and still 0.2 of a second back on the ever-venerable 24 of Thomas Bresci. The difference between these two drivers has been pretty much nothing over the last few laps, over the last several dozen, if you think about the big picture here. The field, all things considered, has stayed tight up in front except for Blake Cannon. Cannon is now more than 4 seconds ahead. That difference is growing. Looks like Cannon tonight has found confidence, and there is no way now for him to lose it. He hasn't at all lost, of course, that pace relative to everyone else. Maybe the tire wear is getting to him somewhat, but it doesn't mean that he is out of luck. Instead, he's making it down Thunder Alley each and every time, catching up to more lappers, and only gaining a further advantage. The fight continues, but tonight it appears it continues as one. Blake Cannon across the line for 57 laps remaining. Braxton Weiss still chases after Bresci, and it looks like one driver going up in smoke. That was Tom Wetmore. Wetmore with trouble, taking a brief look back. It looks like the 69 smoke billows as he enters pit road. Andrew Hamilton there as well, but watch this from Wetmore. Tom, red hot on the way in, and it looks like he makes it in, then spins into his stall. Burns it out, and gets back in position. Fortunate for Wetmore, it's going to cost him quite a lot of time as he now just makes his way out. But Tom is going to lose a lap by virtue of that incident. Up and in front, Blake Cannon still leads. Looking a little bit further back, it looks like now drivers are dropping into pit road. Looking at Hunter Madalenas, he still stays on the circuit, but we are starting to see drivers go for that split. Coming at the perfect time. 61 laps on the stint so far for these guys. Last pit lap, lap 59. We got less than 55 laps to go when leader Cannon comes across the line this time through. Means, all things considered, the advantage is with the 27. Cannon running this clock down quickly and just hoping to finish the job advantageous. And if he does so, of course, he'll control strategy all the way. Now only 54 laps to go. Don Stevenson, the 47, is coming up on Vinny Tigner. Tigner, with a little bit of shuffling up and down, is trying to make his gains. You'll see that number 12 running 13th here. We haven't mentioned Vinny nor Don at all tonight, and they're drivers who, of course, have been in the mid-pack, fighting it out. 24th up to 13th for the Tigner machine. That's a gain of about 11. And then, of course, you'll have Don Stevenson, 31st up to 13th. That's going to be the number 47, about 9 seconds back on leader Cannon. Nevertheless, from outside the top 30 to nearly inside the top dozen, I'd say it's a pretty good run, all things considered. But I'm sure Stevenson wants to go higher. Cole Fralick and Vinny Tigner just ahead of him, and there's a real good shot he can make up both of those positions with a little bit more diligence. We got smoke, and this is not for an incident. It's for pit road entries. Hensley, Matt Delenis coming together, as does Don Stevenson. 1, 2, 3. Cal Filarski's on pit road as well. Now your big cycle has begun. Here comes Madalenas. A little bit further back, you got Tyler Hensley in the number 5. 51 to go. Buchanan still leads. He hasn't gone in just yet. We'll see how much longer he decides to stretch it here as the field comes to 50 laps remaining. Now this time by, of course, we'd like to thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. Got a few sponsors we'd like to thank, so we'll first talk about our premier partners for the Integrity Racing League. We have two wonderful ones for this year. We'll start with our newest in Sim Motion, a trusted sim racing vendor that's signed on with the Integrity Racing League for 2025 and beyond. Visit Sim Motion at their website, us.sim-motion.com, and use promo code INTEGRITY for 5% off at checkout, or scan the QR code on your screen. They're brand new to the Integrity Racing League, but this is a partnership we'll have for years to come. Thank you once again to Sim Motion and, of course, ambassador drivers including Jacob Fife and Matthew Thunhorst for representing them well. Next Level Racing has been with us since 2023, and they're here with us to this day. Of course, you've seen ambassador driver Cody Smith, and you've heard it before. For dedicated sim racers, there's nowhere better than Next Level Racing. Visit their website today at nextlevelracing.com and use promo code INTEGRITY24 for 5% off at checkout. And scan the QR code on your screen to direct you there automatically. 5% off at checkout for Next Level Racing and Sim Motion. We'd like to thank the both of them for their continued efforts in making things happen here with the Integrity Racing League. And of course, our final shout out goes to iRacing Motorsport Simulations. For more than 16 years now, iRacing has been the pioneer and the leader in the world's most realistic virtual driving sim. There's nowhere else to go for stock car racing, but if that's not your fancy, they've got oval racing, road racing, dirt action, pavement stuff, and anything in between. From the historic classics to the racing of today, iRacing is the place to go. Visit iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast. Blake Cannon, your leader, comes into pit road, and it looks like now we've got ourselves quite the pit cycle. Michael Stroll at the line takes the race lead. 46 laps to go. Taking a look at those on new rubber, you're going to see Jared Davis is one of the holdouts here, but if you look further back, Jack Drucker just made it in. Hunter Madalenis is now the leader on new stuff with a 4-lap-old run this time by. It's going to get interesting here. Then you'll have Rob Ackley coming through, Ronnie Osmer, Thomas Bressi. Bressi shoots down to the inside. There's the number 24. And Thomas, with new stuff, is about to make some big gains here. Watch out for Bressi, as drivers have just made their way through the 24, one of which, and he's now up into 8th overall. Thomas is surging, and you're going to have to see now who's where in terms of tire strategy. Bressi, last pit lap, 129, which means he just went in. Oh, drifting up to the high side. Bressi's lucky not to catch more of it. But Thomas, with speed, slides up high and saves himself. That could have been a lot worse. But luckily for that number 24 team, simply put, it wasn't. Bressi gets lucky, and he's going to make his way through down Thunder Alley with pace and, of course, persistence. 44 laps to go this time by, and we'll return after a message from our friends at iRacing.com. Pit cycle near a close. It looks like Hunter Madalenis leading those on new strategy, and we'll return after this message from iRacing.com. Register today and start your sim racing career.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hunter Madalenis now is in prime position to remain up in front as we return after our pit cycle. The 07 has the best of both worlds. He's got the new rubber, he's got the track position, and those two things go together splendidly. But look a little bit further back and you'll see Thomas Bressi slowly but surely rising the ranks and getting himself up into the picture. He's only about a second now behind your leading man on this new rubber in Hunter Madalenis. Time is running out now as we return to coverage live on FTN of the Integrity Racing League and the Rockingham Speedway. 39 laps remain exactly now, and you can see at the top of the board we still have some holdouts waiting until the very end. DJ Stagner sees the yellow flag fly. We've got trouble. Let's take a look at what happened. Caution is out. We're trying to figure out now who exactly caused it. Justin Morton with big damage. Take a look at this. He's had it for a while here, and it looks like he's not going to be one of those involved. Take a look. Midfield, Jared Davis with some damage. Doesn't look like he is the culprit either. Trying to figure out who exactly was involved here as the yellow flag flew. Caution flies. Cal Filarski side by side with Mikolajczyk. Yellow flag out once again. It looks like Tyler Hensley involved. Hensley nearly going up and over. The 5 of Hensley with big trouble. Take a look at this. Tyler found himself running in the majority of the night in the top 10. Gets brought back down to earth big. Contact with Seb Miller. Pops up. Luckily doesn't flip, but he still drifts down to the wall, collects that right side contact. And the yellow flag is out. 4 of Hensley getting beat to the punch. Looks like right now he's on pit road and making his way through and getting those damage repairs as the rest of the field comes in. DJ Stagner was the leader at the line, and it looks like he is the leader on the way out. DJ Stagner. Can you believe it? Blake Cannon decides to remain the holdout up in front of those on the lead lap, but DJ Stagner gets exactly what he needs. And we mentioned that eventually there will be a reason to say no need to count him out. This is your reason. This is our reason. The 64 is up and ahead. For the first time all night long, it only took him about 135 laps. And I think, honestly, could have taken longer, but it still would have happened. The right time for the number 64. DJ will go up top, and he will try to match him best. 27 of Blake Cannon, and what a challenge that will be. He surges to the top of the track. Former Ignite Series champion, the first ever, in fact, the 64 DJ Stagner. While he's been a part-time driver for the most part ever since, he's a winner, and he knows how to win. Simply put, we see him win on Monday nights, we see him win on Thursday nights. The only thing is we've never seen Stagner win in the Octane Series. He's never given him a thorough shot. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had the makings of a winner in that series as well. We'll restart with 34 laps to go. It'll be Stagner on the outside. The biggest surprise of all, Domination Intimidation Racing has 3 in the top 10. Braxton Deweese in the 1. Rob Ackling in the 22. Chad Mikus in the 25. All of which, of course, getting the advantage now as a result of the yellow flag. And Michael Scholl is not too far behind. He could make this 4 top 10s for the team. Number 3 right now, running in 12th at the moment. Not at all a bad place to be for Domination Intimidation Racing, but I'm sure they're looking for the win. A new competitor emerges, and although his teammate was involved in that last wreck in Sebastian Miller, DJ Stagner is looking to take the swamp back to victory lane. Who else but the 64? That time by for DJ Stagner, it looks like he had a 14.9 second pit stop. He did not just take fuel. It doesn't even look like he took just 2 tires. Full service for the number 64. However, Thomas Bressi, it looks like based on his data, he took 2 tires. 8.7 second stop compared to a 14.9 for Stagner and a 14.7 for Braxton Deweese, which means that we're looking now at a fully fledged DJ Stagner run. Here we go. Blake Cannon gets it moving again, and there's been no stopping Cannon on these restarts. He'll pull away for restart 5. Deweese gets loose, 3 wide, 4 wide with Jake Miller. Rob Ackley pulls out. And Deweese gets roughed up the circuit, and he's going to fall back many a spot to 8th place now. All the while, Thomas Bressy gets up to 2nd. Hunter Madalenas now goes toe-to-toe with DJ Stagner. This is going to be for 3rd. Chad Mike is now up to 5th. And this is the race he needs, and he's finally getting the shot. Osmer in the wall. Ronnie saves it, but he'll fall back inevitably. 3 wide. Deweese taken up to the top of the circuit. Jake Miller goes high as well. Oh, Ronnie Osmer. Luckily, he saves it, and thanks to the quick reactions of everyone behind, not only does no one else get involved, but he keeps his position. That's a second chance of a lifetime. DJ Stagner toe-to-toe now with Micus. This is for 4th, and Chad is looking for it big. He's a driver who desperately needs this. Coming from the top 45 in the championship standings, he can't even say that's the case. P46 in the standings coming into the day. His goal is at least to make it up to the top 30 and go from there. Last several races, he's had to qualify in outside of the top 30 points lock-in, and that's the first time in his career he's been that low in the championship position. But a night in the top 5 could change everything and bring momentum back, while Blake Cannon now leads the way over Wetmore and Madalenas. 30 laps remaining. This is it now for the 27. Bressy, Madalenas 2nd and 3rd, DJ Stagner 4th, Chad Mike is 5th, Ronnie Osmer 6th, and Braxton Deweese in P7. Jake Miller is going to be 8th place right now, that number 41. Miller again having a great night. This rookie has been an overperformer as of late, just hasn't had the execution on a consistent basis, but when he's up there, he is up there. Quiet usually, but it looks like tonight again showing the good side of that 41 crew. Hunter Madalenas to the inside on Thomas Bressy. That's for 2nd. DJ Stagner's got a wonderful view as he looks to put himself back in the podium fight. Ride aboard now with the 64. DJ Stagner digging deep, the hardest he's had to go at it all night long. Qualified outside the top 25, so it's a wonder he's gotten this far through. But it looks like, oh, contact! Madalenas into Bressy. Thomas in the wall. This gives DJ Stagner a shot in the arm to go down to the bottom for 3rd. Hunter Madalenas now, 2nd place, and firmly. He made that quarter panel contact with Thomas Bressy, and he's real lucky in his own right that he didn't get straight turned in the wall. Bressy getting away from it, not unscathed it appears, but he's going to stay in the top 5. Slight damage if anything, he'll progress on. Currently, however, it appears that there's the Chad Micus machine coming up toe-to-toe with Thomas Bressy. Take a ride aboard now as the caution is out, 26 to go. Got trouble again. Taking a look back to see exactly what happened here. And it looks like mid-pack mostly avoids it. The back of the pack, not so much. Gael Brooks has trouble. Here's a look. Oh, Brooks spinning. And a nasty spin too. This replay should show us just a little more. Vinny Tigner to the inside. Gael Brooks went all the way up top here. And it looks like coming out of turn 4. Brooks in the wall. Contact with Tigner and Miller. That finished him off. 71 to 83 and the 12, but Brooks gets the absolute worst of it. Caution's out. Yellow flag flies. 25 laps remaining. Taking a look up and ahead, your leading driver is Blake Cannon. Not anymore, though. He heads down a pit road, and so does Thomas Bressi. An interesting call. This will give Matt Alenis the race lead, and DJ Stagner goes second on 13-lap stints respectively. All the while, the 24 and, of course, number 27 are betting we're going to see a little bit more. And they're going to head to pit road and bring a majority of the field with them. 13 laps is the difference. Matt Alenis and DJ Stagner now. They've got a buffer. They've got the lead, but they don't have the youngest tire in the field. Tricky. "24 laps remaining. This time around, we're coming toward the 22 lap to go marker. That's about where we're going to restart. And as always, we like to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash SimCams. I'd like to thank Andrew C. and the entire Pit Stop TV crew for welcoming us in and allowing Pit Stop TV to make things happen with FTN Broadcasting for 2025 and beyond. For any broadcaster of any experience rate, there's no reason not to use Whiplash SimCams. Free camera packs are allowed for use in their Discord server, and all tracks and cars come without a licensing fee, $5 per pack. Join some of the top-level broadcasters in iRacing, such as ourselves and P1 Broadcasting, and get to business with Whiplash SimCams. Thank you, of course, tuning in tonight. With 22 laps to go, we'll restart next time by, and we'll get back at it and crank it up with 21 laps remaining. So the buffer is 8 drivers: Matt Alenis, Stagner, Mikus, Osmer, Deweese, Miller, Ackley, and Lariah. These are the drivers now on a 15-lap-old stint. They didn't spend a lot of that time under green. I would say they spent about 7 or 8 laps of it under green. But even still, 20 laps matter quite a lot. Nick Ward, in the Octane Series, he only won because of the final 20 laps, being the only of which he led. To put it simply, this is the way to go, of course. These most important laps are do or die. The field heads to green. Hunter Matt Alenis getting a chance to lead it again. Thomas Bressi and Blake Cannon are the first guys on new rubber. And it's going to be tricky to figure out what's next for them. They've got to drive through 8 in 20 laps. Not impossible, but it's going to be real tricky to see what happens from here. Whether or not these guys in the new tire brigade make it through cleanly is the big question. Here we go again with 21 laps to go. We're going to crank it up unfiltered and unrestrained from the rock. Matt Alenis leads with new rubber, but it'll be Bressi and Cannon looking to surge through. That one is big. 21 laps to go. The field comes together. Crank it up, postponed. That was about everyone. Hunter Matt Alenis gets away, Ronnie Osmer and Thomas Bressi. Everyone else, not quite. Here's a look as DJ Stagner tries to pull himself together. Instant replay on the biggest wreck of the night. Contact with Mikus. Mikus tries to straighten out with a contact from Deweese. That sends them both up the circuit. Chad hits Stagner again, overcorrecting, and that's when it gets nasty. Mikus finds misfortune. Contact with Jake Miller. Cole Freilich. It just gets worse from here. Ackley involved. Michael Araya, Paul Mikulajczyk, Casey Shue. And the field is involved. Don Stevenson, Cal Filarski, Vinny Tigner. Daniel Foss barely gets by. Stagner hits Josh Christman. Michael Araya up on the high side of the circuit. Big wreck with 19 to go. field will pull it back together again. 19 laps remaining. Hunter Madalenis in control. Thomas Bressi with new tires up to third. He might be in the best position to win this one, if not for Blake Cannon and Cole Freilich running 5th and 6th on the same stint of tire. With 19 remaining, we'll head back at it in 2 laps' time and bring you some brief messages from our sponsors and associates live on FTN. We'll return right after this. You're watching the Rock 175. Stay seated, grab your popcorn. The most exciting part of this race is coming right up, and you won't miss a thing.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
17 laps remaining when we go green. Madalenis and Ronnie Osmer will go toe-to-toe, but all eyes are on Thomas Bressi and the new tires that lie behind him. Goodyear rubber might be the difference maker between victory or defeat. And right now, it's pretty evident that Bressi has made up half the distance, and it might be an easier half from here to really come through. Green flags out. Madalenis in control next time by. Pace car decides to stay out 1 extra lap here just to make sure everyone is together. It'll be a 16-lap restart from here. Elliott Henderson goes in, as does Jake Miller. They'll get themselves their laps back. Looking at 16 officially on the lead lap, going back to Jake Miller. The rest of the field is at least one down in what has become a heavily tire strategy dominant day. Seen it like that before. Very rarely, though, does it get the majority of the field. Green flag this time by. It'll be officially 16 laps remaining. Madalenis on the bottom, Ronnie Osmer up top. Here we go again. Osmer looking for his first career win. Madalenis looking for his season-leading third on the campaign. Thomas Bressi, your points leader, looking for his first on the year, one that's been long anticipated. Green flags out. Madalenis gets away quick. Got a car length and a half on that one. DeWeese is due to follow, as is Ronnie Osmer. Watch now for Thomas Bressi. He's got the young rubber, but he has to make these moves. Doesn't mean he's got the space automatically, and as a matter of fact, we'll see stiffer defense on this 24, knowing he's got the pace to win it outright. Madalenis getting some defense, and it's going to be good for him as they go side by side behind. It's the only thing that keeps him up in front. 15 laps to go. Currently, Hunter Madalenis has the advantage of about 3/10. DeWeese, Bressi, then Osmer, all together. Looking low, Casey Shue for 8th place. And how about that for Casey, a driver who qualified outside the top 40, barely made the show, and now he's up inside the top 10. But Cole Freilich goes 3 wide for the 3rd position. Can't quite get it. Bressi surges away, but how about that for 4th? Side by side goes to 15. And moreover, Thomas Bressi now ducks to the bottom. It'll be a baker's dozen from here. That'll be only 13 laps to go as Hunter Madalenis comes across the line. 13 remaining. The 24 of Thomas Bressi. Right down low, the number 1 of Braxton DeWeese. He's up on the top side. Thunder Rally is single file. DeWeese scuffs the wall ever so slightly. He's still inside the podium here, but with Cole Freilich coming up quick, it looks like new tire really will be dominant as Bressi looks for the race lead. 12 laps to go. Thomas, championship leader, still doesn't have a victory. As he goes through 1 and 2, though, he does have the lead. Big move for the 24. Cole Freilich likewise looking for 3rd place. Can't quite get it easy. Deweese is still fighting. Up top, the 15 goes for the block. Braxton goes down to the bottom for a switchback maneuver. At the line, they're dead even. But again, I believe Cole Freilich has the edge on tire. That is the differentiator. Thomas Bressie right now. That Chevrolet Camaro is pulling away. Cole Freilich likewise would like to get in the battle, but he got roughed up hard there by Braxton Deweese. Not to say there was any contact, but it was a stiff battle, and the number one did not give in. Now Braxton's got to keep on defending as Paul Mikolajczyk gets up to the 5th place. That'll give Casey Shue a shot on the bottom as well. Here comes the new brigade. Cole Freilich looking for 2nd place. To the high side, he'll go on Madalenas. And Cole Freilich will get the catbird seat with 9 laps to go. Watch on board now with Freilich in the closest position he's been in his entire Integrity Racing League career to come away with the win. Up top is Freilich. Down low is Bressie. Lapper Stagner gets out of the way. 8 laps remain. Number 15, Cole Freilich gets up on that top side once again and can't quite make a move. Down Thunder Alley once more, though. Still no dice. The 24 of Bressie has himself blocking all the way up top. Cole Freilich has gotten there, ripping the high side alone, makes the difference through 1 lap. It'll be 7 laps to go. Bressie now has to look back. Cole gets up on the wall ever so slightly. Minor contact, but it won't be enough to deter him here. Working the back straight, Hunter Madalenas runs 3rd. And now Cole Freilich dives to the inside. Freilich low, slamming the 24 up the circuit. Big contact. 6 laps remaining now. Bressie, I'm sure he won't be happy about that one. Let's see what he does next. He'll take the lead into 1 and 2 with 6 laps remaining. And Cole Freilich putting it all on the line there, effectively body slamming the 24. Luckily, both drivers will bounce back, but that could have been a lot worse if placed at the wrong angle. Both drivers quick enough to get through without issue. 6 laps to go, coming now to only 5 laps remaining. Paul Mikolajczyk looks now on Braxton Deweese. That'll be for 4th place, but Bressie is trying to get away. He just got challenged directly. He can't afford any more instigation. The number 15's got speed, and if he makes the right move, it could be his win and not Bressie's. Thomas is up top defending, and he'll focus not on getting involved in the fight again. Hunter Madalenas is 3rd. Braxton Deweese is 4th. Paul Mikolajczyk to the inside now on Deweese. Madalenas has to block again on the high groove. It looks like now 3 drivers for 1 spot. 8 of Thunhorst. 56 Drucker. 77 of Mikolajczyk. Here comes Paul, down on the bottom. Now the 77 is up to 3rd. Thomas Bressie, 3 laps to go. Half a second lead over Freilich, and it looks like it's as good as it gets, lest he makes a mistake. 3 miles remaining for the entire field, and it'll be only 2 after this. Thomas Bressie with the advantage for the lead. You look further back. Hunter Madalenas tries to make something happen on Mikolajczyk. Can't make it stick. The only driver now with a chance would be Matthew Thunhorst, and the Thunhorst machine is there. The number 8 machine down to the bottom, surging low on Madalenas. You got Paul Mikolajczyk now, only a car length ahead. Now Paul's got 3rd comfortably. Deweese is fading back into 7th place. Ronnie Osmer, Jacob Fife, all in the mix. But focus ahead on your leading driver, Thomas Bressie. He leads the championship now by a dominant margin, and the only thing more he could do this season is win. He's been the vice champion 3 consecutive seasons, and I'm sure he doesn't want to go through the heartbreak of 2024. Why not get back to his winning ways? Coming through your final 2 turns in the Rockingham Speedway, one of our most successful, most consistent drivers. He's seen victory lane many a time before. Why not come back again? Thomas Bressie wins from Rockingham, his first of the season to extend his championship lead. Cole Freilich for 2nd. Paul Mikolajczyk then for third. Two first-time podium sitters, and standing atop them, of course, is a driver who's been here many a time before. The 24 begins to celebrate. First of the season and extending his already major championship advantage. Bringing it into Little Victory Lane, Thomas Bressi is your race winner. And what a race it was for the 24. He qualified fourth tonight, but he made it up those 3 spots necessary. 12 laps led, it says. Got quite a few more with time in the sun, but the checkered flag is his to finish the job today. The 24, your race winner. Cole Freilich and Paul Mikolajczyk getting their first podiums in their career. Second and third respectively for your 38th and 23rd place starters who fought with grit and tenacity to get to this point. Matthew Thunhorst fourth on the day, Jack Drucker in fifth, Hunter Madalenas P6, and Ronnie Osmer seventh, with Jacob Fife eighth, Don Stevenson ninth, and Casey Shue rounding out the top 10 from your final qualifying position. 11th goes Braxton DeWeese with Blake Cannon in 12th, Rob Ackley 13th, and Michael Araya 14th place with Seb Miller P15, 16th Chad Mikas, Jake Miller 17th, Cal Filarski P18, and Will Reichert 19th. Brian McFerrin concludes the top 20 with Sam Nieto 21st, 22nd in Vinny Tigner, Gael Brooks 23rd, and Daniel Foss 24th. P25 is Jared Davis, 26th place Nicholas Ward, P27 Justin Morton, and DJ Stagner 28th. Boomer Logan and Brent McClendon round out the top 30 with Tom Wetmore, Josh Gallagher, Tyler Hensley, Matt Press, Josh Christman, Elliot Henderson, Michael Stroll, Brandon Bernhard, Andrew Hamilton, and Blake Gordon for your top 40. Final drivers, Gavin Fitzgerald, Daco Parka, Kyle Cooper, Joe Dinsmore, Ryan Vaughn, Ryan Potter, Lane, and Andrew Schaub on the day. Checkered flag falls on the night. The 24 is your race winner. We're about to hear from him first. Of course, Thomas Bressi, the man of the hour, finally bringing his number 24 back to victory lane. Let's hear now from Thomas Bressi, the man who got it done. JTM finishing first and fourth on the day, but of course their championship leading teammate is the one who gets back to victory lane first. Thomas Bressi, the checkered flag is yours today from Rockingham. Welcome back to victory lane. It looks like finally you've been on the podium before this season, but you're back on top of it.
Yeah, finally, it's about damn time. I didn't know if tonight was gonna be the night. I've been hit or miss here before, and like the last time we were here really struggled and kind of was getting that same vibe the first part of the race. And I was like, man, if I'm going to run like second, third, fourth, and not even get like a lap lead or anything, and that green flag cycle didn't work out too great in my favor, and just had trouble trying to pick back through there. And yeah, just, it was hectic there at the end. And I thought about using my last set of tires right after, like when that caution came out after the green flag cycle, and I was like, man, I don't know. And so I came in, I fixed a little bit of damage that I'd had from, I think some of the contact earlier when we kind of got sandwiched off of two, and saved it and missed whatever happened down the backstretch. I got to go back and look at how I got through that. And then, yeah, just, I don't know. What a night. I don't even know where to start.
And I mean, it all comes down to those last few laps. You led 12 on the day, and you were competitive for the entire race, but you finally broke out at the very tail end. A few cautions to get us to that final short stint. You think you were better just making it happen late?
Maybe a little bit. I think the turning point there was when I came in and got fuel and just fixed the damage that I had and didn't use that last set of tires. I wanted to, and I was like I was going to, and I was partway down pit road, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna save them. And then obviously, taking them eventually, I was shocked I held on even remotely as well as I did. Same with Cannon. I thought both of us were going to the back when we stayed out there, and gave us a chance to have enough of an offset, to get the tires, and then just survived the mess on that one restart, which obviously made it a little easier. But and then Cole gave me a run for my money there at the end. So I got clear of Hunter, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just try to chill a little bit. I'm gonna maintain this gap just in case there's a late caution. I got a little tire to work with. Then I saw Cole fly by, and I'm like, oh dang, he's on the same tire strat. I gotta go. And it almost didn't work out, but he was flying on the top there, and he threw a slider there, and it got a little net code in there, which it was what it was. It's hard racing going for the dub. So just happy it worked out there at the end.
And you mentioned tires tonight, slipping through multiple grooves. Rockingham works well with going for the high side, the middle, and the bottom. And it looks like tonight tire wear maybe not all too extreme if you managed it proper. How was it for you dealing with your rubber?
I could have been better. It was tricky because the setup was not great. You need like spinal surgery, I think, with how stiff the front end was. I mean, it was, the left front might have been in the air on corner entry at both ends. It was just pogoing off the splitter. It was horrible. But so trying to balance, trying to get it to turn through the center, but then not just plow through the exit, and trying to find a balance to where it wasn't too free or too tight. And there was I didn't do a great job of it. I think that one run before the pit stop, the green flag stops, when Blake just drove away from me. I kind of used the right front up, and it was starting to get a little tight, and I was kind of just riding, trying to manage it. And then right before I pitted, it got stupid loose. So it was tough to balance. It's been tough to balance the last couple times we've been here, just the way the setups have been. But yeah, definitely as per usual with the B car, we had to take care of the right front for sure. So that was kind of name of the game, I felt like.
And tonight, finally breaking out for that big victory. First and foremost, we know you're stretching that championship lead now. It was a dead heat just 3 races ago. You might be north of 85 points up, and even further than that after another great run. With that said, we're coming toward the end of our first stretch in the regular season. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is up next on the calendar, a track we visited last year. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you performed very well when we went for a 250-mile feature in 2024. We're doing it again this year. How do you feel about heading back to the Brickyard?
Yeah, I can't wait to get back there. Honestly, with some of the opportunities I felt like for wins that have kind of slipped away so far this year, I've had that circle. I was like, if you don't have a win by then, something's wrong. But yeah, obviously, like you said, we won last time we were there, which was great. And I fully expect to do that again. And if I don't, I'm going to be pretty pissed off at myself. That's always a place that I've loved going to. It's just one of those kind of rhythm racetracks. And on top of that, I think if you're driving the Exalted 24 and you don't run well at Indy, then you probably should pick a different number. So I hold myself to a high standard when we go there. But definitely looking forward to getting back there. Like you said, the points lead has been, I'm surprised. I mean, I've had some good fortune in some respects. Last week was not great for a couple reasons on my end, and somehow maintained, I think, just with other people's misfortune. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen it a couple times. I know you've mentioned it on the broadcast where, we do great in the regular season and it all falls apart at the end. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But nevertheless, like I always say, we'll just take it a week at a time. We'll keep getting points and rack up whatever bonus points we can for the postseason. And, just take it a week at a time and go on to Indy next week, see if we can go back to back.
Building a big advantage now in the opening third, and this victory cements the championship lead. Thomas Bresci, victory from Rockingham. If you have any final comments you'd like to add, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, just again, as always, thank you to all the JT Motorsports guys for all their hard effort. Got a couple of top 10s tonight. Matt up in the top 10. Casey got a top 10 from 45th on the grid. He drove his backside off, so really proud of him. Cal had a good race going, kind of had some misfortune towards the end. Same with Justin as well. Tyler had great pace tonight. just across the board, Matt, just everybody was great tonight. So Gael was awesome as well. Just great night for the team. Obviously, thanks to all the Integrity admins for all they do, and all of our series partners, you, of course, for doing the broadcast, and everybody that tuned in. Hopefully, you all enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.
Putting a victory on an already dominant opening portion of the calendar. Thomas Bresci getting the job done from the Rockingham Speedway. Thank you again for your time.
Yep. Take care, buddy. See you.
But Thomas Bresci, such a veteran at the top of the board. We got two drivers here who are coming in for their career best finishes and, of course, their first career podiums. First of which is second place finisher today, Cole Freilich, who came out of nowhere in those final laps and made it a real tight fight for the win. Cole, career best finish, first podium in a points-paying event here with the Integrity Racing League, and a great run from end to end.
I kind of forgot that I wasn't driving a 410 sprint car at Port Royal there. We were up on the fence. Tried to throw a slide job, realized I was on pavement and on about 20 some odd degree of banking, and it didn't stick. About put the guy in the fence, and I feel bad for Thomas for nearly doing that. But yeah, we had a good run. I started terribly. I think I started 36th. But yeah, nice. We just kind of avoided the mess. I did cause a little bit of mess along the way, but yeah, it was a solid race, and I just wish some guys wouldn't have got taken out the way they did there late in the going.
And you mentioned your qualifying position. That's first and foremost. You didn't start 36th. You started 38th. It worked out in the end, but I'll tell you this much. You were very far behind. How was it making your way up?
That's a good question. I don't know. The race kind of turned into a blur for me. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that last 5 laps I was seeing red. I don't even know what the hell I was thinking. I was just going for it. But yeah, so everything just kind of slipped out of my mind just off of that last 5 or 6 laps they were going for it. But yeah, I mean, getting through the field, it was all right. I've certainly had worse experience. I've had better experiences. It was just kind of there in the middle. But yeah, I definitely could have done better on the qualifying, because coming off turn 4 on my fast lap, I was probably tracking towards the top 15, top 20 starting spot. Just knocked the wall down. That's on the driver, and the driver's never been a great qualifier. So.
And tonight, first and foremost, a big opportunity to fight for the win. Getting right there, final tenths of a second, final laps, a big moment for you, and getting closer to victory in the Integrity Racing League. We go next to a completely different style of track, a much bigger one in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What do you think it's going to take now to take this momentum and carry it over to a much different style of circuit?
Well, I mean, Indy is my favorite track. I'm glad we get to go back home again to Indiana. That place is full of rich history, and that's one of my favorite circuits of all time. So I've made it kind of a point to be good there when I can be. Stock cars are not as good, but the open wheel stuff I really enjoy. Honestly, there and the little short track over in Indy, I'm really comfortable with both tracks. But it's fun to go on the big oval, especially with this type of traditional stock car. And I'm just hoping we have as good of a run there as we did this week.
That said, career best finish and a podium at that for the number 15 crew. Cole Freilich, second on the day. If you have any final comments, we'd love to hear it.
I'd just like to thank Kart Chaser, Simrap Market, Pagoda Racing Insurance, CFM Esports, and Misery Motor Club. Everybody that helps me out with my sim racing stuff and making me less terrible of a driver. Blake Reynolds, he's been a help with kind of learning the ins and outs of running cars like this. So just off of running with him and running around him. Same with Nate Stewart. Those guys have made me a lot better at driving these things. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Shout out to Kart Chaser, and as always, Simrap Market. They do a lot of good stuff for the community. If you need a paint and you're in a bind, just go check those guys out.
Cole Freilich, second on the day here in the middle step of the podium from the Rock. Thank you once more for your time.
I appreciate you for broadcasting this.
Cole Freilich on the move, our last driver, Paul Mikolajczyk in the number 77. Another first career podium and a third place finish at that for the 77 crew. Paul, about as close as you've been and making it way up the ladder late to go from 23rd to 3rd overall.
Hey, what's up?
Looks like tonight, one of your best runs overall here in the Integrity Racing League. Big gains, strong finish. How was it for you at the Rock?
I like this place a lot. It really promotes like running your own line because you can really run anywhere. Like I like running like a diamond in 1-2 and running up next to the wall in 3 and 4. I would say there's only about like 15 laps where I ran the bottom in 3 and 4, and that's when I was trying to make a pass or on a restart.
And tonight, of course, Rockingham Speedway. First time you've gone here this year with the Ignite Series. You've been running this car, of course, getting your races in. There's no other track that we can really compare it to. But when it comes to your experience so far as a rookie in this series, do you think there are any races that prepared you for this moment?
I run a lot of different leagues. I always find this track to be very similar to like a weird like Dover Darlington mixture, because the way that the corners are shaped and where you have to like place your car entering. And those are two of my best tracks. Like I love going there. I'm very excited for tomorrow running at Darlington in the Cup car. So, and also this track being up close to the wall really fits my skill strength as well.
And you mentioned working up high to the wall here in Rockingham. Not quite sure if it's going to work out. Next up for the Brickyard. Bringing some good momentum in, taking a podium finish, and going from there. I'm certain you've gotten the experience at Indianapolis at least once before, but with this big field, it's always going to be a little different.
I hate that track, David. That is my least favorite stock car track in the game. I don't know what else to say. Indycar, perfect car. Put me in a stock car there. I am going to qualify near the bottom 5. I cannot figure that place out for the life of me.
Let's see whether or not that is the case. Qualifying in the mid-pack tonight didn't hurt you all too much. We'll see if you can make those positive gains. Nonetheless, Paul, third on the day here, rounding out our podium from the Rock. If you have any final comments you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, obviously, thank you for doing the broadcast. Thanks to all the admins that brought me in here, especially Tom and John, great friends of mine. Met them in another league a year or two ago. Also, shout out to my team sponsors and my sponsors as well. Next Level Racing, Slipstream Signs, Racecraft Academy and Racecraft Group, Apex Custom Gaming PZs, and my friends over at Dead Zone Racing.
Third place on.
Ooh, forgot them. That's fine.
Well, with that said, Paul Mikolajczyk, third place on the day here from Rockingham and making it through in the Next Level Racing, number 77. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. See you later. Peace out.
And with Paul on the move, you've gotten a word now from two first-time podium sitters. The 77 coming in third, the number 15 coming in second, and then, of course, the ever-venerable veteran, Thomas Bresci, winning here from Rockingham. It's his first of the season, but that extends the championship lead he'll take into the Brickyard. That's right. Up next on the calendar for our final race before Easter break is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Integrity Ignite Series. Tomorrow night, the Octane Series races in a half-length Southern 250 at the Darlington Raceway. But until then, you've been watching coverage of the Integrity Ignite Series, race ace of the season. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream. And subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. We hope to see you for tomorrow night's coverage of the Southern 250. Congratulations to Thomas Bresci for his first victory on the campaign from the virtual Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham County, North Carolina. Thank you for tuning in and hope you have a fantastic night.